Why is it bad that they remain a majority then?
I've already said why, because you're talking about restricting immigration from a ton of different areas in order to
I know. Why do we have to take immigration from all these areas?
Because it helps grow the size of the economy and it brings talent in from other areas to continue to benefit the entire country.
It benefits the global elites. That's the only people it benefits. Let's just say that we admit a Mexican immigrant to the country. But if swaths of illegal immigrants pour across the border, we can't do anything about it under pain of being called racists. When that Mexican immigrant steps into America and sees that nothing's changed because the Mexicans have brought their Mexican culture with them, he says, what the heck?
For many, however.
Okay, so this is foreign land. This is the main reason why I even wanted to watch this, is because it's a sentiment, right? It's the sentiment.
Let's just say,
it's a sentiment of like watching. Now, I've never watched John Tron stuff, just the meme of like him saying WTF, but like the guy was really famous before he got into this. Like, I've heard about this debate particularly, and that he showed a lot of nationalist views. But the thing is, that's the idea of living black and living on the internet and living in this sub genre in the internet and gaming and stuff like that. And it was pretty interesting for seeing racism in gaming. Is that like these, and again, it's not specifically this guy, but it's a lot of people that like happen to have a white likeness, and you see them, and you know, you like the crazy content they come up with sometimes. And I think part of it might be just, it just doesn't mention you until it does. And then they say some really crazy stuff. And you're like, whoa, how did they, wow, that was crazy. That involved me. And it's like, yeah, it did, you know, because they're not you, you know. And you think like people who kind of aren't you, they, you know, especially if they're popular, you know, like John Tron here is like, he's popular. I'm not sure if he's still popping these days, but like, you know, when he was, it was just like, oh, he's just a guy who's a gamer, who's just like me, you know, he agrees with my viewpoint. But the thing is, when you start hearing a bunch of crazy stuff, and then it does involve you, but very negatively and very like from an ignorant perspective, it's like you see it, you start to see a trend, and you start to see like your these people who are once the people you look up to as a person who's not really like a popular person, a person who I'm not even sure, I guess a nerd, yeah. And you find fellow nerds and you realize that these nerds who don't look like you but claim that they're from the same space, they don't fuck with you like that. And that's pretty heartbreaking, you know. And this is some of the stuff I really had to just really I guess not double back on, but like back away from, because people have these perceptions on me, like, you know, oh, you're this, you're that, because I mention race. Not because I say anything like black people are superior, because I would never say something like that. But I do have a critique to white culture, because it keeps bringing this up. Now, I understand Destiny's not really effing with that type of stuff, but sometimes, man, like, you gotta see this stuff. You gotta see it. You gotta open your eyes, man. And when you do see it, it's like it paints everything else. When you see people say crazy stuff, and you keep seeing people who look like him say crazy stuff that about other people. Now, mind you, I've already kind of turned my gears about trying to figure this out, and realize that like white culture is just, they frame this far differently, and talking about people who's outside their group is seen as edgy humor, even though it doesn't involve them. It involves like, I mean, it doesn't involve them racially, but for them, saying crazy stuff is like kids saying no words, you know, and like, you know, when people mention Xbox Live and stuff like that, it's just like, it's just a collective of people saying no words. And the thing is just like, why does the no words include people that don't look like you? Why is the N word constantly brought up when it comes down to those swear words, those cuss words, those no words that you shouldn't say? Why is that? There's no word for people who look like him. There's no negative words for people who look like him. There's a bunch of N words out there. There's a bunch of those. There's a bunch of monkeys, and I ain't talking sayings. There's a whole bunch of negative words out there that involve people that don't look like them. But for some reason, it doesn't click. That it's like, as they say, the elevator doesn't reach to the top when it comes down to them mentioning these words. Like, damn, I'm mentioning black folks when I'm talking about this. Dang, I'm mentioning these type of folks. Dang, why am I talking about Asians? Why is that actually something that's like crazy? Why are we okay with saying this? I really wish that white people could come to that conclusion and say, hey, why are we saying this shit? You know, I made a video about Invincible, and my point is always going to be this: I probably will never like the aspects of us being seen in a bad light. I don't like it when my people do it themselves. I don't like it when white people who are 60%. Now I checked recently, they're 75% of the population, and they depict us pretty weird, pretty off, pretty ignorantly, pretty negatively. I don't like it. I don't like it when I see it from cartoons. I don't like it when I see it in popular media. I don't like it when I see it in rap. I like to see, understand the aspects of when you constantly show a positive picture, then you suddenly show a negative picture. That image is not seen as so bad. It shows that you're kind of more of a human. And by that I mean, like, when people, I'm going along with it. This is 6 minutes. Either listen to it or just go somewhere else. I understand the aspects of when people watch they watch movies and they have a positive image of people who look like them, and then when they show something negative, it's not seen as like something to run home to run to the bank for. It's just kind of like a, oops, that makes sense. It was a hiccup. Instead, when you show black people, when you show negativity, you've already shown millions of images of black people. Now, mind you, no one's going to mention that these rappers were very poor, and he was either rap and be poor, or rap and get a deal and start getting yourself out of poverty. Nobody's gonna really say that, you know. And yes, they might mention it in their raps, but like, no one's gonna say like, yo, there was no other way other than saying a bunch of stuff to get me out of this stuff, or just sell drugs, because for some reason, you know, these jobs aren't. It's just this whole thing. If I could explain this stuff, I would definitely just leave it to foreign to have a very structured video. My point is just, it's heartbreaking when you see people who are your heroes who look white and they turn out to be real pieces of trash, you know, and they turn out to be people who don't like you like that. People don't fuck with you like that. People who got really nasty things to say. And like, imagine he said this thing about Mexican immigration. You know, now I get it. Some of the Mexicans may push themselves away from Mexican illegal immigrants and have that difference. But like, the thing is just like, yo, if you were ever in a situation where you just, you know, you were just trying to be an economic migrant and find a better life for yourself, and then you make your way and you trying to get your papers together and you trying to get yourself together, and then you hear this guy who you follow and he was an outcast, and he was like, man, I follow this guy because he gives good game reviews and blah, blah, blah. And you realize he says, hey, I don't want those fucking Mexican immigrants in my place. How would that make you feel? You know, mind you, people always say, just get over it and throw a thicker skin. I say, fuck that. I don't know if he's Spanish from Spain or not, but if he ain't Mexican, I don't know why the fuck he's talking negative against Mexicans. You know, and if some of your favorite white YouTubers throw the N-bomb to suggest, hey, I should say this, I should be able to say this, why can't I say this? It's not a no-no word. It's a word that's literally directed toward the specific people that's negative, that is literally meant and associated with them being subhuman. And because those same people use that word to turn it into a positive, it doesn't mean that you, as a person outside said community, can use it. I'm not sure how that's a hard concept. I'm not out here saying racial slurs for white folks, Mexicans, Asian people. I'm not really doing any of that because I have some fucking sense. I don't understand what's up with certain people who feel entitled to say certain things. And when people tell you, hey, don't be an asshole, you have questions other than yeah, maybe I shouldn't be a fucking asshole because it's a good thing to do. Like, I've never understood people who don't understand it. Like, be less of an asshole. If you have friends who don't look like you and they still want to fuck with you, why do you say shit that's specifically about them? These aren't no words. These are words that involve people. Fuck what your family told you, what your cousin told you, what your fucking uncle told you. If you say some fucking words like some slurs that involve people specifically, I don't give a fuck if your Asian friend said it's cool. I don't give a fuck if your black friend said, hey, you cool to have an N-word pass. There's a reason why we like Eminem, even though he has an N-word pass, because he don't fucking use it. Stop fucking, I don't know, fucking with people who rock with you. Like, stop fucking with people like that, you know? I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, yo, if you got people who don't look like you and they really care about you, why would you say some shit that's really hurtful to them? I never understood that. I don't care if you apologize. I don't know these apologies. I don't fuck with people who say some shit like that. So there's a good chance I probably missed this dude's apology if he made one. Maybe he did. Maybe he just doubled down and said, hey, fuck it, I'm going to Rumble and I'm going to keep my ignorance there. Well, do what you got to do. But nah, like, I just never understood people who believe themselves to be equal to everybody, but say some shit that's specifically for other people that's not them. I just never understood that. But we're in Europe too. We're in America. So this is the type of shit you deal with.